and I need to, yeah, I'm going to edit this out. But if I say, hey, could you like, what'd you say? Like, I didn't catch that.
No, I got it. That's why I waited. I'm like, I have time. She can cut all this out that I'm holding and waiting to think about what I'm going to say to like redo it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Just a little, yeah. So I have something fun that I wanted to do with you and with Jennifer. So when she pops on here in a minute.
Okay, but I have to tell you something about.
Okay, yeah, tell me something really quick.
The pink the pink headphones. Okay, I'm gonna hold them up right now. You know what I'm talking about? These earbuds.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
They're the best, right? I love them. Okay, guess what happened? I'm on a plane. I'm watching a movie. All of a sudden, it's time to take my earbuds out. I think my ears are just popping. No, they are not popping. One of those little pink things got stuck in my ear while we were landing. Yes, that happened. And you know why? It's not because of that stuff. It's because of me. I changed out the little tabs on the end to try to make it fit my ears.
Right.
That was a mistake. I should have left it the way it was because I obviously didn't press it down hard enough. Then I get to the hotel and I'm on like a mad dash, like multiple hotel gift shops trying to find tweezers. At which point then some medical thing happens to me and like tweezers happen. But like I'm a grown up. I'm a fucking grown up. Who gets shit stuck in their ear as a goddamn grown up?
It was like legit stuck. Like you couldn't get it out. Like on the airplane?
I could not get it out. Yes.
Stop it.
It was like that for like an hour. Like it was on the plane and then I had to walk around. And then in the airport, I'm like looking for tweezers. I mean, this is a stupid conversation. The point is, I'm a grown up and I got shit stuck in my fucking ear.
This is fucking awesome. That is perfect. And I love that kind of shit. I love it.
The whole like hotel was involved. Like all the staff are trying to find me tweezers. You know, they're
amazing.
Like, everyone feels bad for me. And in the meantime, I feel like I'm a toddler because I have something stuck in my ear.
I feel like that was probably the best story of the night. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hello. I see you're getting started without me. Look at this.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
How are you?
We couldn't wait any longer for you. No, I'm just joking.
I had a piece of earbud stuck in my ear is what happened.
I hate it when that happens.
This was like 3 days ago, not like when I was 4. So I was just commenting on how awesome that was. That was a great moment.
And when she was on a plane and on a trip and away from home and had no resources and had to like go out and seek like help.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't go to a walk-in clinic though. You actually managed to get something out.
How would I get to a walk-in clinic? I didn't have a car. No.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
So yeah, that actually happened to me the other day. Like, so I totally know what you're talking about with the same earbuds.
These same pink ones?
Same exact one.
Same exact ones. Because I was like, what's happening right now? And then I was like, oh my God, the thing got stuck in my ear, but it didn't get jammed in there. So I love that.
Yeah, you got yours out.
Yeah, I did. Jennifer, we're so happy that you're here. What time is it in Belfast? I mean, I'm just so curious.
10:30.
Oh my gosh. I don't love doing time zone math at all. Like I'm terrible at math. And with this podcast situation and connecting with people across the world, doing time zone math they should teach that in school. Like, do they teach that in school? I probably skipped it. I probably went over it. So we're so glad that you're here. And
oh no, I'm glad to be here.
Coming and hanging out with us. Okay, so I have a little fun thing that I want to talk to you guys about. So, you know, you see all this silly stuff on social media and they always ask like a question, right? So my friend posted this on her like Facebook account. It was like, put this on your page and let everyone describe you in one word. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like I'm opening up a can of worms that I don't know if I want to open up quite right now, you know? So like if you had to say one word to describe yourself, just one word, yourself, what would you say?
Audaciously determined. I know that's technically 2 words, but
that's 2 words, but we can add a dash in.
Yes, exactly. That's hyphenated. So
hyphenated
technically.
Let's make that word.
Hyphenated work is technically 1 word in the dictionary, I believe, isn't it?
Totally.
We'll just make that a new rule. So
let's do it.
We can make up our own rules anyways, you know. We're not following rules right now. Ginger,
that's it.
Jozlyn, I have one for you. It would sure be smoothie.
Oh,
smoothie.
Why? Because I eat a smoothie every day.
You do? I mean, I don't know what you're into, but like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That makes sense. So like, did I think of one for me? No, because I immediately was like, smoothie. That's yours.
I'd say for you, spicy.
Spicy.
Oh, please.
You're a little spicy.
I would say part-time lame, full-time not doing the shit I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Is that one word?
Are we hyphenating that?
That's a really long hyphenated one.
Yeah, that's like it's like a 3-part hyphenation. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go with. I mean, I want to stick with food groups. I'm gonna go with Masacholi.
Okay, silly. So let's talk about neurodiversity, because I know that that's something that you, when I found you in one of the communities that we connected in, you have like this wild story that I feel like everybody's got, you know, a story to share. And when I came across your story, I was like, oh wow, like that is something else that's going on there. Like, and I'm curious, and you piqued my interest because I don't know a lot about neurodiversity, so I can't even say it. So share with us a little bit about like your journey that you went through that you shared with me, because I know about it and Ginger doesn't. So
yeah, well, I like to say that my life was and probably will always be a bit of a beautiful mess, as I think probably most of our lives are, you know, in a lot of ways. The concept of really neurodiversity is kind of, I'm autistic. Okay. So it's kind of coming from the point of view that when we talk about neurodiversity, it's, yes, there's some of us who our brains maybe work slightly differently. We see things slightly differently. We have maybe different viewpoints. So with myself, like with autism, they say it's on a spectrum. So all of us are very different who are autistic. There's not one of us that'll be exactly like anyone else. There's peak and troughs, you know, so things that I'm really great with, and there's things that maybe, you know, I'm not so hot with, and it would be very different. Yeah. And so it could be also people who have ADHD or ADD or dyslexia, Tourette's, so anything kind of along that nature. And rather than kind of looking at us ourselves, I suppose, saying, you know, that we're less, you know, and we're not as equal to, it's more from the point of view is like, hell yes, we are different, we're badass, and we have a hell of a lot of value to give.
Right.
So it's that kind of perspective of different, not less. And I think that's really kind of sums up, you know, a lot of it. And it's also not saying that we're necessarily better, because I know sometimes you would hear people go, oh, I'm so sick of hearing all this crap about inclusion and diversity and blah. Yeah, don't even get me started, but
oh, you can
start. That's another podcast. That's all together right there. And it's not about like, oh, we're better, we're awesome, we deserve, you know, so much more things rolled out for us or anything like that. I think it's just, yeah, some of us can be assholes, pardon my language, you know, more than anybody else. I do tend to curse like a sailor as well. So
yeah,
sorry in advance.
Safe space to swear and go off
swear. Okay.
Yeah, and get on your soapbox. We're here to listen.
Well, but I think that's it. I think it is really just not just saying, look, we're like everybody else. We have things that we're great at. We have things that we're shit at. We're just humans, and not one human is exactly like anyone else. You know, your brain isn't like Ginger's brain or anyone else that you know. So I think it's just looking at it from that point of view and just saying, yes, there may be, especially in regards to maybe communication and things like that, there may be things that, you know, we need, especially as children, you know, to a little help with learning how to like process social cues or things like that. And again, that's not even all of us. Now I was a very big masker.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no, you're okay.
Like Go social ahead. Cues and things like that, you know. So I have a daughter that has ADHD and dyslexia. I have ADHD. My husband has ADHD. So I've been, ever since she was like in kindergarten, I'm like, what is going on with her? So I've kind of like absorbed like all of this information about all of this neurodiversity. And I think in our house, we look at it like it's like a gift, right? Yeah. And like those things with social cues, that stuff sometimes never comes. Yeah. So it's like, they spend a lot of time like working on stuff with kids, or it's like, oh, let's work on this stuff, but it's like, it's never going to be there. So like, why not just change, you know, the way things go?
Yeah,
exactly.
For them.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like a little bit of a mindset too, because instead of being like, oh, I'm broken, or oh, there's something wrong with me, you're like, I'm awesome and I can do things. I just do things in a different way. And it might be a different way than what you do or you do, you know, and that doesn't mean it's any better or any different. It's just different. And, you know,
Yeah,
Still good. Still
exactly.
I kind of feel like it's better though. I still feel like it's better.
Okay. So what's
it's okay. You're the odd woman out now. So
I am. What am I like? What is it called? Like, what's the
neurotypical?
You're neurotypical.
Well,
NT. You're an NT. Sorry. Second class.
I am second class. So how do you know? Like, how do you know if you are in the neurodiverse, realm, like, or if you are just neurotypical, like, I don't know. I've never had anyone look at me and say, well, there's
I think a lot of times we don't know at first. I mean, I didn't know until about 2.5 years ago.
Really?
Now my son is also dyslexic and autistic, and I learned a lot of it through, studying kind of about it from him and in order to sort of help him and all of that kind of stuff. And ironically, kind of at the same time, I was in therapy, my therapist, because I had a lot of severe anxiety and things like this, and it gotten so bad where I could hardly even leave the house and things of that nature. So we were in kind of trying to get to some of the bottom of that, and 9 months later, we came to realize that I was autistic. She believes I could be borderline ADHD, but I don't have a diagnosis for that. Although there is a lot of crossover there. And if anybody's ever seen me kind of how I process and work around the house, it's like, yeah, you would probably say that. But and I have GAD, which is general anxiety disorder, and chronic PTSD as well. So I was kind of peeling back all of those layers to find out really what that meant. And as soon as she said it, and she gave me it started off with a process of like having me look and do some different almost not a survey, but like forms you fill out and questionnaires and all this kind of stuff, and
like an evaluation.
And it was really, and some of the questions were really bizarre, and you're kind of going, right, how do I answer this? Are they going to actually lock me up? Because one of the questions
they're wondering if you're schizophrenic too.
Yes, yeah.
They're like, do you hear voices?
But a lot of autistics do when they're young. It is and a lot of kids do anyway. Most kids do anyway. You have magic kids, but autistics kind of process a lot of times different, and they don't look at it as like a separate friend. They see more the voice kind of in their head. And I actually had that as a kid a little bit, but also for a long time. I can't believe I'm actually saying this to anybody. I'm like looking around going, my family actually watch this. But I actually was like, I would honestly question, right, I have to be from another planet, because see, these people around me are just, no, I just don't fit in with anybody here. Like I just didn't feel in any way that I belonged. And it's a lot of women who are, or I should say girls who are autistic, we are really underdiagnosed. Like I know here in the UK, it's, kind of like 20% to how, boys and men are diagnosed, because we do a lot of masking.
Yeah, it's like that here too.
Yeah, we do a lot of masking, and oh my goodness, I was great at that. Masking is where you what is that? You kind of try to fit in the social situation. So, and how you can tell someone is masking, and looking back, I was like, yeah, that shit makes so much sense, because every boyfriend I went through would have been maybe very different. So like if one was punk rock, I had a mohawk dyed it green. Right. I, dated like a Rasta guy, and I had dreadlocks, and, I dated, a guy who was like into ska and skinhead and had a skinhead, you name it. And I was like, except for country, I didn't quite go down that road.
There's still time.
There's still time. I'm still going to go all that. But yeah, so it was like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense, because I would completely change so many outward aspects of myself to really try to fit in, because that's kind of what I thought I had to do. And it was the same in school and high school and everything else. And I know for myself, it was even going to really extremes, to try and fit in, where, oh, I could drink the most and I could do this and I could do that, and I would like do all the crazy stuff. Look at me, I'm the fun, popular party girl, when I wasn't really, but that's the things that I try to do to kind of,
I feel like some of that is changing though, like with like society and how people look at people that are neurodiverse. I think we were back in our day when we were younger and in school, it's like they try to make you fit into this box. And I think more and more like corporations, and I know you do a lot of this with like your business branding, are looking for people who think outside the box and think differently. And I think schools and communities are noticing that, like if you foster those weird kids, they come up with weird ideas that are awesome, And that's how it should be, I think.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know that you are a businesswoman and you started your own business and, right? I mean, you have your own business.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, it's been at times very challenging. I think being a woman entrepreneur, full stop, although things are better, there's still major gaps there. And, spaces that kind of need to be closed up and brought together. As far as like someone who has any kind of disability disorder or neurodiversity, and I kind of, especially like hidden disabilities, and that's kind of what Lady Rebel Club is about kind of creating a community and a bit of a movement, hopefully, that is there to sort of support and empower, women entrepreneurs who are neurodiverse and who have a hidden disability or disorder. And I use the word hidden. Now, my disabilities and stuff do actually give me some physical disabilities now, slight that I would have. But when you can't see, and it's not any worse, not any better, but if someone can see somebody has a physical disability, they kind of are able right away to process that good, bad, or ugly, and, act on it in some way. Whereas when you have something that they can't see, it's really, really hard as hell to get anybody to understand, like, well, what's wrong with you? You look normal. Like, I don't know how many times I've had people say that to me.
Yeah.
You look perfectly normal. Like, I know when I first started to do Facebook Lives, and the whole visibility thing for me was just literally like a visceral fear where I would like vomit. I can't go live. I just all these, not that it was from a narcissistic point of view, like, hello, everybody wants to look at me, but it was just, what if they look at me?
Yeah,
what if they see me? And it took me a year, of really practicing and like almost self-torture, to get to a stage where like I hop on now and I'm like, yes, it's grand. As long as I kind of keep it up. If I find I don't do it for a while, I kind of slide back. And I had so many people at that stage say to me, oh, you'll be grand. What are you worried about? You have a nice voice. You're cute. People, I'm like, okay, that's not really have anything to do with it.
I find that like I can kind of identify with where you're coming from, because I have a son that has cerebral palsy and he had 2 life-changing surgeries. So, in the beginning, his disability was very visible. And then like after the surgeries, his disability is not as visible. I mean, unless you know him or you knew his journey or you were really paying attention, most people don't pay much attention, they wouldn't notice. And I used to get so frustrated when people would be like, well, he's doing good. He looks good. And it's like, yes, but, there's always that yes, but, and so I can understand that. And I'm very conscientious of the fact that like everybody could be walking down the street and they look like they're fine, but you don't know. You don't know what's underlying or what's going on behind the scenes, And if somebody's doing something differently or they're talking a different way or acting in a different way, there's got to be a reason, right? Whether it's they had a shit day or they got in an argument with their husband, or like you said, maybe they're processing something in a different way that I would think that they should process in a different way, my way. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and I try to be a little bit more, what's the word? Like conscientious and like humble and a little bit more open-minded. And I try not to judge. It's so hard because I think that's like,
it's human nature though, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it as well, is that, speaking as someone, who's obviously neurodiverse and blah, 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 and has all of this stuff going on, it's easy to sort of, and I know when a lot of people hear my story as a whole, it's easy for them to kind of go, oh, I want to, my story is not as sad as yours or as complicated as yours or whatever. And I'm like, look, we all have, I look at it as kind of an ocean with waves in it, and we all have waves, different size waves at different times that hit us in different ways.
Sure.
And what is going on with me, I might be in Stillwater right now. You might be up Schitt's Creek, with the waves crashing everywhere. And like you said, we don't really know. But the other thing is too, that whenever we are, so as soon as my son got his diagnosis of being autistic, I dived in, like I said, and, was trying to learn all about it as much as I could. In fact, I knew before the doctors did, even because I could tell something, which at first we actually thought he was deaf.
Moms always know.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. They do. We do.
And we got his diagnosis when he was 2, which is very young even. Yeah.
Right.
He was
That's
very
awesome.
young. It was about 2.5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They say early intervention is like the best intervention, because
yeah.
it helps.
Yeah. And it did help us with a lot with him, with just helping him to process things, in a different way, and giving him that additional space and different